Hey guys, it's hump day. Happy Wednesday. Now, you know how I like to start off our Wednesdays together with a little 30-second dance party. So I thought, remember I told you Monday I was kind of sad. I was really going to miss you guys. I was sad that our video time together was coming to an end. So I thought, what can I do Wednesday as a special surprise for all my video friends who like to dance with me? So I have a little extra special something for you today. But first thing I need you to do is I need you to get up, find some room where you can wiggle and dance, and get ready. Okay? All right, here we go. Okay, guys, remember I told you I had a surprise for you. I had to get a little rearranged, a little situated. So what we're going to do today is instead of just 30 seconds of dancing, we're going to do 2 minutes of dancing together. And this is a lot of jumping. So make sure you have lots of room and you're comfy. Here we go.
I'm Athena. I'm Serena.
And I'm Kai.
And you're watching NTV, Noodle Television.
Touch this. You touch this. Can't touch this. My music hits me. So makes me say, oh my, thank you for blessing me with a mind to rhyme and to hype. It feels good when you know you're down. A super dope homeboy from the old town and I'm known as such. And this is the beat that you can't touch. I told you, homeboy, can't touch this. Yeah, that's how we living and you know. Can't touch this. Look at my eyes, man. Touch this. Yo, let me bust the funky lyrics. Fresh new kicks and pants, you got it like that, so you know you wanna dance. So move out of your seat and get a black girl and catch this beat while it's rolling. Hold on, come a little bit, let them know what's going on like that. Like that, come on a minute, so make them fall back, let them know. They talk too much, and this is the beat you can't touch. Yo, I told you, you can't touch this. Why you standing there, man? Break it down. Hammer time. Every time you see me, the hammer gets so hype. I'm dope on the board and I'm magic on the mic. Now why would I ever stop doing this when others making records that just don't hit? I've torn around the world from London to the Bay. It's hammer go, hammer MC, hammer yo, hammer, and the rest can go and play. Touch this. You can't touch this. Can't touch this.
That was a workout. All right. It's time to get to work, isn't it? All right. Woo. Grab some water if you need to. That's a lot of jumping. All right, let's get ready to dive into our lesson for today, okay? Woo. That was some hard work. I feel like I just was jump roping. That was a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but I hope that was fun for you. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to jump right into our Wednesday, May 13th ELA video lesson. And this way a little bit, the sun's kind of bright. We're going to be focusing on our grammar skill this week, which is going to be adverbs. All right, we've talked about adverbs already a little bit earlier this year, but adverbs I think is a great skill to review coming off of adjectives last week because they have a lot of similarities in the sense that they both describe other words, but like how adjectives describe nouns, adverbs describe verbs. They tell us more about a verb, all right? So you can tell me what's an adverb. An adverb is a word that describes a verb. Remember, a verb is an action most of the time. An action, something that we do, okay? So it's telling me more about that action. All right. So remember how we talked about last week how adjectives can tell us how a noun looks, smells, sounds, feels, how many there are. Adverbs have different purposes too. So adverbs can tell us how something is done. Let's look at these adverbs here. So the verbs here are in black. Smiled, waited, knocked, and run. Those are verbs, actions, something that we do. And then the pink underlined words are adverbs telling me how that verb happened. Was the smile? They smiled kindly. How did they wait? They waited impatiently. How did they knock? They knocked loudly. And how did they run? They ran quickly. So kindly, impatiently, loudly, and quickly are adverbs that tell us more about those verbs that they come right before or behind. So do you notice anything about those pink adverbs, especially looking at the ending of them? Yeah, they all end with the letters ly. Now, that's not going to be the case for every adverb, but that is a good trick, little hint to help us to pick out the adverb in a sentence. All right, so adverbs can tell us how something happened, and they can tell us how often something is done. So our verbs here are eat, play, walk, and sleep. So how often do they eat? Often. How often do they play? Sometimes. How often do they walk? Regularly. And how often do they talk? Never. So we've only got one of those ly adverbs here. Remember I told you that's not always the case for our adverbs, but it is a good trick for us to use sometimes. So what's an adverb that you could use to describe how often you have homework? Now, if we were back in school, it would be nightly or daily would be how often you have homework. But now it's kind of like never, none. You just have these little schoolwork activities, right? All right, so let's talk about adverbs can tell us when a verb is done. So our verbs here on these examples are reading, arrived, sang, and going. So when was the person reading? Before reading. Arrived early. It tells us when they arrived. They arrived early. Sang yesterday. When did the singing happen? Yesterday. And then going now. When are you going? You're going now. All right, so what about an adverb to describe when you have recess? We have recess in my class in the afternoons after lunch. So later, or after, recess later to describe when we have that. Okay, adverbs can also tell us where something is done, where the verb happens. So driving is my verb in action. Where are they driving? Everywhere. Flew, like these birds I've got flying around out here, they flew where? Near. Near tells us where they flew. Ran outside. Outside shows us where they ran. And then shopped there. There tells us where they shopped. So what's an adverb you could use to describe where you can read a book? You can read a book outside, inside, under a table, in a chair. So they can be used, there's a lot of different adverbs you can use to come up with that, where you can read a book. Okay, so we talked about this just a few minutes ago at the beginning of our lesson, but I wanted to review real quick how adjectives and adverbs, what they have in common and how they're different. So what are the similarities that they have in common? They both describe or tell us more about another part of speech. They both describe or tell us more about other words. But what's different about them is those adjectives, they tell me more or describe nouns, person, place, or thing. And these adverbs describe or tell me more about verbs, actions, things that we do. Okay? All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to hop on over to Seesaw. Oh, no, sorry. I forgot we had this review real quick. We're going to let's do 4 practice ones together before you start doing your Seesaw activity. And your Seesaw activity looks different than this, but it's the same thing. You're just identifying and circling the adverb in the sentence. Okay? So Paul quickly ran to answer the door. Okay, sometimes if I have trouble with adverbs, a suggestion I can give you is to find the verb first. So what is the verb that Paul did? He ran. So ran is my verb. Now let me see if I can find an adverb that tells me more about how he ran. I found one. I found that quickly tells me how Paul ran. How did he run? He ran quickly. So quickly would be my adverb. All right, what about this one? The class quietly worked on their writing. Well, I know worked is a verb. It's an action, something the class is doing. So now can I find an adverb telling me how they work? How did they work? They worked quietly. All right, what about the next one? The dog ran outside when I opened the door. Uh-oh. These first two up top had ly at the end of them to help me out, but this one doesn't have an ly word. So let me find that verb first. What's an action that the dog did? The dog ran. So ran is my verb. Now let me see if I can find an adverb that tells me how, where, when he ran. Oh, I found one that says where he ran. The dog ran where? Outside. So outside is my adverb. It tells me more about the verb ran. All right, last one. Helen read that book yesterday. All right, so what is my verb? What is my action that Helen is doing? Reading. She read that book. Okay, so now can I find an adverb that tells me where she read, when she read, how often she read? Oh, yep, I've got one. It's yesterday. When did Helen read? She read yesterday. All right, awesome job, guys. Let's clear these off. Click this out of the way. And now get to your activity. Okay, so you've got 10 sentences here on a sheet on Seesaw. Simple, all you got to do is highlight or circle the adverbs in the sentence. Highly suggest if you're having a little bit of trouble finding those adverbs, two things. Try to find the verb first, the action, and then see if you can find an adverb that tells you more about that verb. And if you're still having trouble, you can always rewind this video and go back and look at those slides for different examples, okay? Not too bad. Hope you had a good time dancing with me today, and we will be back tomorrow to review that moral and lesson of a story with a really cool story about a little girl who kind of faces her fear and goes to the very top of a building on an elevator. It's going to be fun. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Bye.